You think it's the mistresses that hurt most. Or the lies. Or the Instagram models liking your husband's photos at 2:14 a.m. But no, what breaks you is seeing a notification from your bank that reads, "Your transaction of $27,489.15 at Cartier Beverly Hills has been approved," and knowing you didn't buy anything, not a ring, not a watch, not even a pen. But your husband? He bought everything. Her name was Sienna. That's what the sales rep said when I called Cartier and asked who signed for the purchase. She said her name was Sienna Kingsley, the woman chirped clearly on speaker. She was with a tall man, dark hair, expensive suit, had a bit of a drawl. Southern, maybe? Charming guy. I could barely breathe. Kingsley. That was his last name. Mine, too, at least, for now. My name is Brielle Foster Kingsley, 34, financial marketing executive, educated at Georgetown. Mother of none, wife of a very charming, very broke man named Damien Kingsley. We met on a flight to Miami. He spilled bourbon on my skirt and apologized with a grin that melted all my instincts. He said he was a luxury brand consultant, said he knew fashion houses, ran with gallery owners, once designed a capsule collection with Givenchy. I should have asked for proof. Instead, I let him move in. And then I married him. It wasn't a marriage. It was an investment vehicle. I put Damien on my Amex Platinum, gave him access to my Chase business account, helped him launch a consultancy that never consulted a damn thing, paid off his student loans, helped him lease a Tesla. In return, I got late-night sex, and laughs over wine, and social media clout from his designer wardrobe, and silence. He was beautiful, but his silence was the real weapon. I never knew what he was doing, until one day I knew everything. It was a Tuesday, the kind of ordinary day that ends your entire world. I was on hold with Amex Fraud Protection. "Ma'am, it looks like the charge was placed from a verified device on your account." "That's impossible," I whispered. "Ma'am, are you familiar with a user named Damien02? My heart cracked in my chest. That was my husband's username for everything, even Netflix. I opened my banking app. The transaction list was endless. $14,000, Saint Laurent Paris, and $3,500. Crypto wallet transfer. $6,300. K-Lux Interior Services. Not real, I'd later find out. He'd emptied my life like it was a purse he planned to replace. When he walked in that night, I was calm. He smelled like lemon soap and guilt. I held up my phone and said, "Cartier?" "Really?" His face didn't crack. Not even a twitch. "I can explain." "No, you can't." I cut him off, because I already checked. "The crypto account? Registered under an LLC you opened using my social security number." His eyes widened then. Just a fraction. But I saw it. That was when I knew. He hadn't just betrayed me. He'd studied me. Like a chessboard. I filed for separation, froze what accounts I could. Spent weeks unraveling debt that wasn't mine. I went to friends for help, only to realize most of them had already picked a side, and it wasn't mine. Why? Because Damien was smooth. He spun the story, told them I was erratic, emotionally volatile, controlling, and they believed him. They believed the man with good cheekbones and a Rolex I paid for. One night I sat in my closet at 2 a.m., surrounded by receipts and fraud affidavits. I looked around at all the things I'd once bought, thinking we were building a future. Chanel boxes, his and hers. Sneakers, size 13. Unused candles from a wedding registry we never even finished. And I broke. Not loudly, just quietly, in the way that rewires your soul. That night, I didn't just cry. I decided I was going to get every dollar back. I created a new alias, Noelle Breyer, public relations freelancer. remote worker, New Jersey-based, unmarried, no baggage. I took a job in crypto PR under the table, used my skills to get into the fintech scene, started learning fraud tracing, IP mapping, recovery tools, and legal workarounds. I became the woman he thought would crumble, and instead became his worst fecking nightmare. Some women get justice in a courtroom. Others go viral with tell-all TikToks. I chose to build mine with data, patience, and perfume-scented lies. Her name was Sienna Monet. Yes, the Cartier girl. But she wasn't just a side piece. She was his accountant, his fake bookkeeper, the operations manager for the LLC he built on my stolen credit. She knew things, bank things, crypto things, secrets he whispered in bed without knowing she would eventually whisper them to me. I became a woman I had never been, playful, petty, chaotic. Noelle Briere had baby pink nails, a gap in her teeth, a raspy giggle, and no LinkedIn profile. She was exactly the type of girl Sienna would meet on accident and underestimate. I found her at a girl boss tax brunch in Manhattan, hosted by a mutual connection who owed me a favor. Sienna was the keynote speaker. Her topic? Financial empowerment for women, building wealth through independent LLCs. Oh, the irony. She stood in a tan bodycon dress, nails glistening like chrome weapons, and heels tall enough to stomp on another woman's life. I clapped like a fan. I was her biggest fan that day. After her speech, I walked up to her, playing my part. You killed that. I'm Noelle. I've been trying to start my own thing, but girl, I'm so lost. Can I book a session with you? She blinked, then smiled. Of course, babe. I love helping women get their paper. She handed me a business card, CNX Secure. I had her. Now I needed her to give me something real. The first session was virtual. She looked polished, lips glossy, speaking fast and confident. First, we gotta set up your LLC. But make it in Wyoming or Delaware, better tax breaks. What about Georgia? I asked. My ex was there. Don't want to get tracked? That was the bait. She tilted her head. Girl, he a hacker or something? I laughed. More like a fraud. He had a thing for other people's credit cards. Her eyes sparkled. Sounds familiar. You too? She sipped her wine and leaned closer to the camera. I used to deal with this guy named Damien, finesser, smooth talker, sexy as hell, dumb as bricks, hook, line, sucker. Sienna talked, and I let her. She spilled that Damien had 5 burner phones. One of them had an app called Whisper Vault, where he stored sensitive logs. His crypto was split across Coinflare, Blue Ledger, and an offline wallet hidden in a safety deposit box under the name Ray Ellis, a twist on my maiden name. I played dumb, nodded, laughed, told her she should write a book. Then I asked if I could come to her office for in-person coaching. She agreed. She operated out of a loft in Soho, sleek, sterile, and probably paid for with my Chase business account. The receptionist handed me a waiver to sign. I used a fake name. Fake ID. Fake everything. Once we were inside, she gave me a tour, and while she turned to refill her water, I planted a tiny USB recorder under her desk. The recorder captured, and her password for Coinflare, and her iCloud login. A full conversation with a Damien about shifting funds from the Brielle account to safe storage. I had proof, but I needed access. Over the next 2 weeks, I kept texting her, playing the role of the flirty little sister she never had. We shared memes, laughed about exes. She sent selfies. I sent carefully filtered ones back. I praised her, built her up, fed the narcissism until it was fat and lazy. Then one night, I texted, "Can I be real to you? I think I want to do what you do. Teach other girls. Build a course or something. Girl, you can. Let me help." She sent me a Canva template of her onboarding packet. She didn't know I'd already cloned her full system. That weekend, I filed a formal IRS tip using all the receipts. shell corporations, identity mismatches, crypto laundering activity. I included audio, screenshots, access logs. A week later, Sienna's business PayPal was frozen, her TikTok coaching account suspended, her main LLC, Monet Group Holdings, placed under investigation for wire fraud, identity misuse, and tax evasion. She posted a cryptic Instagram story. People really be watching you, smiling in your face, then snitching in silence. Yes, Sienna. I was watching. And, smiling, Damien called me 2 days later from a blocked number. What the hell did you do? I didn't say a word. I just breathed into the phone, then whispered, "You married the wrong woman." There's something poetic about tearing down a man's empire one file at a time. It wasn't rage that fueled me anymore. It was precision. Damien didn't just drain my money. He built an entire criminal infrastructure using it. LLCs, fake invoices, revolving merchant accounts, layered crypto movements, all dressed in legal gloss and digital ambiguity. But I wasn't some jilted wife anymore. I was a financial bloodhound. And I knew exactly where to sniff. It started with a mailing address in Cheyenne. That's where he registered Arcstone Media, LLC. I found it tucked deep in a line item on a loan application Sienna had accidentally forwarded during one of our fake coaching exchanges. From the surface, Arcstone looked harmless. Its listed business activity was digital consulting, but its IIN matched transactions I'd seen on my own stolen bank statements. He'd used it to take out a $40,000 small business loan, with my social, my business credit. And the bank had approved it, because he'd used just enough fake documentation to make it believable. I ran a sweep using a tool I'd quietly built with the help of a cybersecurity intern I paid under the table. It scraped Secretary of State databases, looking for similar business names, repeating P.O. boxes, and shared agent addresses, and matching SSN fingerprints or date of birth overlaps. The results were jaw-dropping. He had 6 other LLCs registered in 3 states. 1. Cypress Digital Holdings, registered in Nevada, used to lease studio equipment. 2. Vallon Lux Interiors, Delaware, claimed to design custom lounges. Fake. 3. RDE Global Transport, Florida, a trucking shell with no trucks and 1 routing number. Each one led to sub-accounts under online payment processors, Cashflow Direct, FlexPay, BluePay. That was how he cleaned money. $1,500 came in as consulting, got transferred to another LLC, then sent to a prepaid card, then to crypto, then disappeared. I knew I needed to get inside one of those accounts, so I went for Vallon Lux Interiors, the Delaware entity. Why? Because it was active, and it had an open Shopify store selling Italian furnishings that didn't exist. I ordered a $900 handcrafted lamp as Noel Breyer, tracked the merchant processor, used a packet sniffer to trace the IP of the email confirmation. It pinged from a WeWork in Atlanta. He was still operating from my city. I booked a day pass at that same WeWork under a new alias, Sabrina Lee, and showed up in a designer blazer, heels, and glasses that screamed investment attorney. I scoped out everyone with a MacBook, earbuds, and a suspiciously clean desk. Then, I saw him. Damien, in a navy cardigan, wearing frames he didn't need, whispering sweet nothings to a woman I didn't recognize. She had a laptop open showing a website builder dashboard. He was onboarding another victim. My blood turned cold. I didn't confront him. Not there. Instead, I emailed the entire shell company list to the Delaware Division of Revenue, marked as urgent suspicion of identity-linked financial fraud. Attached, and screenshots of my SSN used on Cypress's filings, loan approval letters tied to my name, and IP traces from his burner LLCs, and voice recordings of Damien on calls with fake vendors. I CC'd on the IRS fraud unit, a journalist at ProPublica, a legal clinic that helps identity theft victims. 3 weeks later, I got the call I'd been waiting for. Is this Brielle Foster Kingsley? Yes. This is Special Agent Helena Griggs, Financial Crimes Enforcement. We'd like to ask you a few questions, off the record. I met them in a nondescript office suite in Midtown Atlanta. When I walked in, Agent Griggs handed me a manila file. Inside were screenshots, forms, statements, and a printed note. You're not the only one, but you're the only one who fought back. That night, I sat in bed and opened a fresh Word document. Title: Shell Game: How I Survived My Husband's Financial Scam and Built My Own Empire. This wasn't just revenge. This was a reckoning, and I was going to write it, speak it, broadcast it, not to get sympathy, but so the next Brielle? She would know how to burn the whole thing down before it starts. There's a saying I once heard from my grandmother in Virginia. When a man is slick, it ain't just one woman slipping. Turns out, she was right. Damien hadn't just conned me. He had a history, a pattern, a string of women left broke, confused, and emotionally hollowed out. And all of us thought we were the only one. Until one day, we weren't. The envelope came in plain brown wrapping. No return address, no postage stamp, just slid under my apartment door like a secret. Inside was a USB drive, a note. You don't know me, but I know what he did to you. You're not alone. If you want answers, come to 34th and Spring, Suite 211, Friday at 6 p.m. I hesitated. This had all the markings of a trap, but I was too deep to back down. Suite 211 was a co-op workspace above a vintage clothing store. I arrived at 5:58 p.m., wore dark jeans, a hoodie, minimal makeup, ready to run if needed. Inside, there were 4 women, all different shades, all different ages, all wearing something that said they didn't plan to trust easily anymore. The woman who stood when I entered had a commanding presence, mid-40s, smooth locks tied back in a crimson scarf, and eyes that looked like they'd seen the underside of the world. You must be Brielle. I'm Fallon. She gestured to the others. This is Marina, that's Zoe, and over there is Claire. They nodded. I nodded back. Fallon spoke again. Welcome to the Broken Widows Club. We took turns. No one interrupted. Marina was a corporate lawyer in Chicago. She said Damien had gone by David Lawton when they met at a fintech summit. He scammed her into CO, signing a $70,000 line of credit for a startup that never existed. She lost her job after defaulting. Zoe was only 26, a graphic designer. She dated Damien when she was just 21. He posed as a mentor, convinced her to start a business, then drained her PayPal account and ghosted her. She had to move back in with her mother in Detroit. Claire, quiet, older, sharp, was a retired school administrator. She had invested her husband's life insurance payout into a property venture Damien promised to flip. She lost $180,000. And Fallon? Fallon was the first. She had the timeline, the receipts, the Google Drive folder. I started watching him in 2017. That's when he left me with a maxed-out card, forged tax returns, and a $20,000 IRS debt I'm still paying off. Her voice didn't shake. I told myself I was stupid. But I wasn't. I was groomed. We all were. Over the next 2 hours, we built out a whiteboard map of everything we knew. An aliases: Damien Kingsley, David Lawton, Derek Simon, Kane Ferris. Locations: Atlanta, Miami, Chicago, Houston, Jersey City, and shared strategies: LLC fraud, identity manipulation, false tax documents, romantic coercion. Tools: Venmo loops, invoice duplicators, burner phones, ghost business websites. This was systemic, organized, rehearsed, Zoe whispered. It's like we weren't even people to him. Fallon looked at me. But you cracked him open. You're the first to fight back and hurt him. I looked at them all. Then let's stop surviving. Let's build something. That night, we founded something unofficial, raw, and necessary. Project Thorn, a cross-city collaborative system for exposing repeat financial predators and collecting hard digital evidence. and coaching women on how to recover stolen identity, educating others through real-world playbooks. We'd use his own tactics, anonymous drops, back-channel tips, fake client requests, to trace, bait, and trap him again. Each of us had a strength. I had marketing and analytics. One Fallon had legal training and grit. Zoe knew design and digital trails. And Marina could still pull strings inside corporate networks. And Claire had time and memory. Together, we would not only ruin Damien, we'd make sure he couldn't do it again. Power looks different when it's born from pain. You stop waiting for justice to arrive with a badge. You build it. We didn't want attention. We wanted impact. We created ghost accounts to fish for new victims, filed legal complaints across jurisdictions, even baited his fake real estate listings with burner email addresses. Fallon got a ping from one. Subject: interested in buying off-market property in Jersey City. The agent's name: D. Ferris. Busted. That night, I messaged him from one of the ghost profiles. It was simple. Hey Damien, you forgot one thing. Paper always leaves blood on it. B. He didn't reply. He closed his listing the next day. But he just stepped into our spotlight. And from this point forward, we would chase him with the same lies he once lived by. Some wars are fought in courtrooms, others in spreadsheets. Mine was fought through whispers, wireframes, and weaponized truth. Damien didn't see it coming. Because narcissists never do. He believed he was smarter, smoother, untouchable. But when a man builds his empire on forged documents and stolen dreams, the fall is always louder than the rise. And we were about to make sure the entire world heard it. It started with a website. Zoe designed it. Sleek, gold-accented, professional. Echelon Private Capital. The site promised silent investment opportunities in underleveraged Southern real estate, NLLC structuring for rapid wealth growth, and confidential accounts for high-value men looking to expand portfolios discreetly. Damien's type? We even made it invite-only with a fake email filter. 2 weeks in, we got our first real ping from him. He used a burner address, dk-luxfolio23@tutanota.com. He wanted to discuss structuring options for a high-traffic Atlanta property. I replied under the alias Monique Voss, Senior Wealth Manager. We scheduled a Zoom call for Wednesday at 1 p.m. We didn't just prepare. We engineered the trap like a heist. Fallon and I secured a borrowed conference room at a boutique law firm downtown. Wired the call through a dual record system. Loop streamed the video to 2 lawyers, a financial journalist, and an IRS liaison, Zoe, and created background noise effects, a subtle clink of champagne glasses, humming AC, to make it feel authentic. Marina coached me on legal limits. Don't bait him into confessing, just get him to lie. The rest is already on paper. Claire unbrewed coffee and calmly sharpened pencils like we were prepping for battle. She never said much, but when she did, it always cut clean. Damien's video loaded slow, cheap connection. He wore a navy dress shirt, sleeves rolled, and a silver chain barely visible at the collar. His background? Virtual. Fake. Miami penthouse. But the reflection in his glasses gave him away. Dingy walls, exposed bulbs. I smiled. Mr. Kingsley. Or should I say Mr. Lawton? Mr. Ferris? You've been quite the nomad. His brows twitched. Just once. Then the grin kicked in. I'm sorry, do I know you? I leaned forward. No. But I know everything else. The accounts, the forged INs, the $1.4 million washed through shell companies. And most importantly, the women. His eyes narrowed. This some kind of joke? I pulled up a document on screen. Loan agreement a 9031, approved in Brielle Foster's name. Arkstone Media. Next slide. IRS audit flag on RDE Global Transport. Registered agent Damien Kingsley. Then, voice clip. Sienna, he said use her SSN. No one checks Delaware filings. Damien's face went white. He reached to mute his mic. But I beat him to it. The call is being recorded and live streamed. There are witnesses on this feed. One of them works for the Treasury. He lunged for the laptop. The screen wobbled. And then he vanished, logged off, gone, but not free. By that night, the journalist at ProPublica had the full story. Title: The Ghost Husband. How one man stole from dozens of women and built a house of cards. It exploded. Within 48 hours. And Damien's name trended on 10, formerly Twitter. 3 new victims came forward. Echelon Private Capital's Honeypot received a legal cease and desist from Damien's fake LLC lawyer, which backfired, because the lawyer was also fake. Marina tracked the IP. Zoe traced the routing number, and Fallon called the SEC. The dominoes fell fast. It wasn't cinematic. It was quiet. Damien was picked up leaving a UPS store in Buckhead, probably trying to mail cash to himself through a ghost name. When they arrested him, he told them he was an independent consultant in the crypto space. They found on 2 burner phones, on 1 forged passport, on a single flash drive. Labeled Plan B, K-Man. He looked bloated in the mugshot. Older, not charming, not slick, just caught. It lasted 4 days. He pled not guilty, then guilty, then back to not guilty. The judge called him an intelligent manipulator of the emotionally and financially vulnerable. They sentenced him to 12 years in federal prison. No early release. No parole. He cried when they took him away, not for remorse, but because the mask had cracked, and there were too many mirrors in the room. We didn't cheer. We didn't celebrate. We sat in Fallon's loft and passed around glasses of rose. No photos, no clinking glasses, just silence. Healing. Some endings don't come with applause. Just breath, and silence, and a sunrise that feels earned. That's what healing looks like after war. Because revenge doesn't give your past back. It just makes space for something better. After the sentencing, I didn't feel elated. Just clean. My accounts were still under review. My credit was still a battlefield. But my name, Brielle Foster Kingsley, no longer made me flinch. I had learned how to speak it again, with power. That's something Damien never planned for. I wouldn't just get justice. I'd get stronger. Project Thorn didn't dissolve when Damien went away. It expanded. Zoe started a podcast, schemed and seen it hit 1 million downloads in 3 months. Marina opened a pro bono legal clinic for financial abuse victims. She named it the Foster Group. Claire now volunteers at senior centers, giving workshops on identity protection. And Fallon? Fallon became something rare, a myth, a mentor, a movement. She wrote a book, got invited to speak at Yale. Her TED Talk title, When Fraud Has a Face You Loved. I worked daily to rebuild what had been stolen. I disputed 97 credit line entries. Unfiled affidavits with 3 banks, the IRS, and Equifax. Got a letter from the U.S. Attorney's Office confirming fraud. Then one day, my FICO score went from 412 to 679. Then to 740. Then finally, 812. I printed it out, framed it, not because I needed the number, but because that score was mine. Earned, rebuilt from fire. I legally dropped Kingsley, took back Brielle Foster, but added something else to the name, an LLC of my own. Foster Reclaim Inc., a consultancy helping women and clean identity damage. Launch protective financial structures. Hunt down predators who operate in the shadows of legality. We don't just restore lives, we fortify them. Love? Yes. But not like before. I met someone through Claire's son. He's a forensic data analyst. Quiet, funny in the nerdy way. Watches sunsets without needing to take a photo of it. He knows everything. And still stayed. But this time, I kept my bank account separate. Some lessons don't fade. They sharpen you. 6 months after Damien's incarceration, I sent him one final message. A letter, typed on heavy paper. Untraceable return address. You once told me I was just a stepping stone. But stepping stones don't bite back. I hope you see now what you built. You taught me how to be cunning, but I taught myself how to rise. This isn't revenge. This is relief. Sleep tight. B. When people ask what happened to me, I tell them this. I died. Then I paid off the funeral. Then I cashed out the pain. And then I built something sacred from the rubble. Not every woman gets justice, but every woman deserves the tools to survive the fire. I built mine. And I hand them out every day.